Hello, welcome to AFRITALES by Moonlight. Please show us some love by subscribing to our channel, leaving a comment, giving us a like, and sharing with your friends. Your support truly means the world to us. Thank you. Leon Ambrose had always been the picture of success, a sharp, self-made entrepreneur whose relentless determination had built an empire from scratch. The night he got down on one knee at a moonlit beach, with gentle waves as witnesses, his beloved Amora Rivera's eyes sparkled with hope and tears of joy. Friends and family later celebrated their engagement in a lavish ceremony, where champagne flowed as liberally as compliments on their future together. In the glow of carefully hung fairy lights, Leon's grandmother, Aurora Ambrose, regarded the proceedings from a quiet corner of the room. Dressed in a shawl with years of wisdom woven into its fabric, she leaned toward Leon and murmured in a low, earnest tone, "Remember, my dear, true love is measured not in riches but in resilience. When the lights go out and the world grows quiet, you will see who stands by you." Leon had always been close to his grandmother. Her stories of hardship and perseverance had molded his own relentless nature. Yet, as he celebrated with Amora, he wondered if her adoration might be more for the trappings of his lifestyle than for the man himself. Later that night, amid the echoes of laughter and soft strains of a live piano, he invited Amora aside. "Amora," he said softly, his voice betraying an unusual seriousness, "I've been thinking a lot about what Grandma said. Love is not about the shine of diamonds or the comfort of luxury. It's about trust, strength, and loyalty, even in darkness." Amora, her eyes warm and earnest, replied, "Leon, I love you for who you are, the kind of man who built everything from nothing. I'm with you, through every storm and every calm." Even then, a small worry stirred in Leon. Did she truly understand that real hardship would reveal the true depths of one's heart? In private moments later, while guests danced and laughed, Leon confided in his best friend and right-hand man, Malik Hassan, the quiet, unassuming driver with eyes that missed nothing. "Malik," Leon said, voice low, "what if I needed a true measure of someone's love, someone like Amora? I've been thinking of a test. I might have to strip away what I have and see who stays when my world falls apart." Malik's serene gaze met his. "Sir, your heart is always in the right place. The ones who stand by you in hardship are the ones who deserve your trust," he replied. Leon nodded silently as the orchestral strains of celebration washed over the room. That night, as the stars blinked in an endless sky, Leon's mind began to sketch out the elaborate plan, a test that would soon reveal the nature of those who claimed to love him. Only a fortnight after the engagement party, the whispers began. Leon held a press conference with carefully chosen journalists and investors in the downtown atrium of a grand hotel. With a grave yet composed expression, he announced that a sophisticated financial fraud had decimated his company's assets. "I have been betrayed by those I trusted," he lamented, his voice echoing through the glossy room, "and as a result, everything I built is in jeopardy." In public, he explained that his businesses were facing bankruptcy. In private, however, nothing was as it seemed. The truth was meticulously orchestrated, a test to unmask who would remain faithful when money became meaningless. Leon's true confidants, his lawyer, Maria Delgado, and his steadfast driver Malik, were fully clued in on the ruse. Over late-night meetings in an old library with dark wooden shelves and antique clocks marking time by heartbeat, Leon and Maria hashed out the details. "Leon," Maria said, pushing back her glasses as she pored over spreadsheets, "this is as risky as it gets. Pretending to lose everything might seem extreme, even to us. But if you truly believe Amora's love is conditional on wealth..." Leon interrupted, "I need to know who loves me for me, not for my wealth. I can't go down the path of loneliness, only to find that my closest ally isn't true love." Malik, who had been quietly taking notes, finally spoke up, "Sir, I understand the magnitude of this test. I've witnessed enough people cling to illusions. I'm with you. Once the facade is set, I will ensure you are safe, even if the facade demands sacrifice." A plan was born that night. Leon would vanish from his familiar life, retreating to a modest country home specifically chosen for the illusion of poverty. His belongings would be lost or seized, and a carefully crafted narrative of betrayal and financial ruin would be broadcast to their circle of acquaintances. Meanwhile, Malik would assume a role far removed from the drivers and chauffeurs of high society, a humble assistant caring for an ailing master. As the plan progressed, Leon dressed down in simple clothes, traded sleek Italian suits for faded denim jackets, and moved into a renovated farmhouse on the outskirts of town. The local neighborhood buzzed with the news of the once great tycoon reduced to modest living. Newspaper headlines spoke of Leon's downfall with a mix of pity and disbelief. During one such quiet afternoon at the farmhouse kitchen, where worn wooden tables met mismatched chairs and the aroma of fresh, but simple, home-cooked bread filled the air, Leon and Malik rehearsed their roles. Leon gazed into a chipped porcelain mug as if it held the secrets of the universe. Malik, how do I sound? I need to be as real as possible, a man who's lost it all. Malik smiled, nodding. As long as your soul reflects honesty, people will believe your every word. Just be yourself, stripped of the ego that once shined through wealth, and they'll see a man who has been humbled. Their conversation was interrupted by a knock on the door. Maria Delgado, dressed in business casual as if she'd stepped off the trading floor, stood in the doorway. Leon, she said, her voice careful, there's been some chatter about your whereabouts. Are you feeling all right? Leon offered a gentle smile. Maria, I found solace in simplicity. I'm rediscovering who I am. The pain of betrayal is deep, but it's also making me stronger. Maria's eyes searched his face. If you ever need help or wish to reconsider. He cut her off kindly. I appreciate your concern, Maria, but sometimes the greatest lessons come from walking through darkness alone. As the day's shadows lengthened, Leon felt that his experiment had officially begun. In the world outside, the news of his downfall rapidly spread. Invitations to exclusive parties stopped. His phone lit up only with messages of concern and sometimes opportunistic inquiries. But even amid the carefully sown chaos, Leon awaited the ultimate test. Would Amora prove her devotion? In the bustling cityscape of polished skyscrapers and glittering socialites, Amora Rivera's life was a mirror of luxury and expectation. Yet, soon after Leon's public announcement, Amora found herself increasingly unsettled by the drastic change in circumstances. The woman who once reveled in gala nights and glittering receptions now found herself embroiled in a situation that was hard to reconcile with the glossy image she was so accustomed to. It began with a phone call on an otherwise ordinary morning. Amora was at her favorite high-rise cafe when her phone buzzed relentlessly. The message, curt and formal, informed her of Leon's bankruptcy and impending move to a modest countryside residence. Initially, she brushed it off as a dramatic publicity stunt, a calculated move to create media buzz. However, when she learned that the tycoon had been seen spending his days in a weathered farmhouse rather than a luxury penthouse, the reality started creeping in. Late one afternoon, Amora arranged a visit. Arriving in her sleek car near the outskirts, she noted the faded paint on the farmhouse, the gently peeling exterior, and the absence of the modern conveniences she treasured. Inside, the space was modest, old furniture with character, a kitchen that smelled of home-baked bread, and no glimmer of the polished luxury she'd known. Leon greeted her at the door, wearing simple clothes and an expression of quiet resolve. Amora, he said gently, I'm glad you came. His tone was neither pleading nor defensive, it was calm, measured, a man who had accepted his fate. Amora's brows furrowed as she stepped inside. Leon, what happened? This isn't the home of a man who built an empire. I expected more. Leon led her to a small sitting area, the mismatched furniture and warm, patched rugs a stark contrast to the designer interiors they had once frequented. I needed to find out what remains when all the glitz and glamour are stripped away. It is here that I must learn who remains loyal when life's burdens weigh heavily upon us. Her discomfort grew with each passing moment. But how can you be so calm about this? She asked, her voice rising in pitch. Your world has crumbled. I mean, look at this place, it's not what I signed up for. Leon's expression softened. I'm not asking for sympathy, Amora, only for honest, unvarnished honesty. Tell me, what would you do if fate turned your world upside down? Her reply, cold and measured, came after a long pause. I'm not cut out for this. I've built my life around the comforts I know. A farmhouse, a modest home. Leon, I can't keep up with this. I need stability, and frankly, I need a real home, a place that reminds me of who I am, not who you once were. The tension in the room was palpable. Outside, the sky was overcast, mirroring the storm brewing inside. Amora's eyes darted around as if seeking an escape. I'm sorry, Leon, she murmured, but I can't promise to stay in a life that is so far from what I desire. Leon's heart ached at her words, but he kept his voice steady. I understand, he whispered. I only wanted the truth. And right now, the truth is, you are not ready to walk this hard road. After that visit, Amora's behavior changed. Where once she called to check in every day, now her phone remained silent for long stretches. Social media posts began to show her at upscale restaurants, stylish brunches with equally fashionable friends, and exclusive events that betrayed her inner conflict. Every luxurious outing was tinged with guilt, and perhaps a hint of relief that she need not confront the drudgery of honest hardship. At one such brunch, amid delicate porcelain cups and soft clinks of silverware, Amara confided in her closest friend, Regina. "Regina, I don't know what to do. Leon is changing. Or maybe I'm just not the woman he needs right now. I can't stand the idea of living in some shabby farmhouse. It's too raw, too real." Regina sipped her cappuccino thoughtfully before replying, "Maybe he's doing this as a test. Do you really think a man who built an empire would so willingly let it crumble? There's more to this than meets the eye." Amara laughed nervously. "A test? What if I fail? I'm not the kind of woman who thrives on grit. I want the comfort of certainty, fine dining, designer clothes, a stable life. Not this rustic hardship." Her friend's words hung in the air as Amara stared out the window at a world moving past her in elegant procession. Deep in her heart, a silent voice questioned whether her love for Leon was built on genuine connection or merely the allure of his wealth and status. Meanwhile, far from the city's glittering heights, Leon continued his quiet experiment. Each day was a lesson in humility, and each evening, as the sun set over the fields, he replayed the day's events in his mind, searching for subtle indications of truth. In the stillness of his modest home, he wondered if loneliness might be a fair price for authenticity. As days melted into weeks, Malik's role in this grand charade deepened. No longer a mere driver of luxury, he took on the mantle of caretaker. With gentle efficiency, Malik managed not only the shuttling of supplies and medicine but also kept a careful watch over Leon's fragile routine. When Leon began to feign moments of dizziness or pain, it was Malik who was always there, steady and attentive. One rainy evening, as dark clouds draped the modest farmhouse, Leon suddenly stumbled. The sound of his weak exclamation cut through the ambient patter of raindrops. Malik, who was preparing dinner in the cramped but cozy kitchen, rushed to his side. "Leon, are you all right?" Malik's tone was laced with genuine concern as he helped his employer to the worn sofa. Leon, pale but still composed, tried to offer a reassuring smile. "I'll be fine, Malik. Just a little dizziness, that's all. Perhaps the change in climate is catching me off guard." Malik was unconvinced. "Sir, you need proper rest. Let me call for help if needed." He fumbled for Leon's phone, but before he could dial, Leon waved him off. No, just keep watch over me. I trust you." Across town in a posh restaurant, Amara was enjoying an exquisite dinner with a business associate, Gabriel, whose charm was softened by his easy smile and polite conversation. The luminous candles on the table reflected in Amara's conflicted eyes as she recalled Leon's modest abode and his measured tone. "Amara," Gabriel said between courses, "you seem troubled. Is everything okay with Leon?" Amara's fork paused mid-air. "It's complicated, Gabriel. I thought I knew what to expect from our future, but now it feels like I'm being asked to sacrifice everything I hold dear, my comforts, my social life. I can't help but think, if he is truly testing me, then what am I proving? That I prefer splendor over simplicity?" Gabriel reached out, placing a hand gently over hers. "Maybe it's not about you proving something. It could be that he wants to see who will stand by him when there's nothing left but love and loyalty. Those who can't bear the truth will eventually drift away. But if you remain, you must do it because you love him, not just the luxury that once defined him." Amara sighed, lowering her gaze to her wine glass. "I guess sometimes wealth blinds us to the deeper values of life. I'm trying to hold on to what I know, but I feel like I'm already slipping." Back at the farmhouse, after ensuring Leon was comfortably resting, Malik took a moment alone on the creaking porch. The downpour had lessened to a gentle drizzle. As he gazed up at the saturated sky, he recalled long nights at the wheel and quiet conversations with Leon, a man who had confided more than just business secrets. Malik wondered if anyone truly cared for Leon beyond his bank account. Just then, his phone buzzed with a message from a close family friend, letting him know that Amara had been seen at an upscale salon having lunch with another influential man. Malik frowned as he recalled hearing rumors that even the trappings of high society were starting to peel away, revealing a raw truth. He took a quiet photograph of the upscale cafe she had just left, an image he would keep in his pocket like a silent testament to the unfolding drama. Inside, as Leon slowly stirred awake, he murmured to Malik, "I trust you, my friend. You have always cared not for my wealth, but for my well-being. Today, more than ever, your kindness speaks louder than money." Malik's response was soft but firm. "I have always believed that true loyalty is priceless, sir. And I'll be by your side as long as you need me." Leon closed his eyes briefly, feeling the warmth of genuine care. In that moment, the plan, however painful, began to reveal its purpose. The true measures of love and loyalty were emerging from unexpected quarters. In the gentle bustle of a local clinic on the edge of the county, Yura Bennett moved through the space with the ease and determination of someone who dedicated her life to caring for others. She was a nurse by profession and a healer by nature, known for her firm yet kind demeanor. Having grown up alongside Leon in more innocent times, Yura had always possessed an unspoken understanding of his soul, a warmth that money could neither buy nor counterfeit. On one particularly crisp morning, as Yura rearranged the charts in the nursing station, a familiar name caught her attention. Leon Ambrose, she read aloud, her voice tinged with worry. Without a moment's hesitation, she donned her jacket and set off. Reaching the farmhouse, she was greeted at the door by Malik, who recognized the deep concern etched on her face. "Yura, I'm glad you're here," he said. "Leon's not feeling well. It's nothing untreatable, but his spirit seems weighed down." Inside, Leon lay reclined on the worn sofa, the dim light softening the harsh edges of his face. Yura knelt beside him, a gentle smile forming as she examined his pulse and skin. "Leon, I remember those carefree days when you'd laugh without a care in the world," she said softly. "Tell me, what has burdened you so?" Leon sighed deeply, not needing to divulge the secret of his orchestrated downfall. "It's a long journey, Yura, one I must travel to learn who the real friends and love of my life are. I feel like I'm caught between two worlds, the one I built and the one I never really knew existed." Yura listened intently as Malik set down a cup of herbal tea on the table. "Your heart is heavy, Leon. Sometimes, when a man loses everything, he finds the only treasures that remain are the genuine connections we forge along the way." As the conversation deepened, Yura shared gentle anecdotes from their childhood. "Do you remember the summer nights under the stars, when all we knew was laughter and simple pleasures? Perhaps this is a reminder that wealth isn't measured in dollars, but in the moments we share with those who truly care." Leon's eyes glistened with memories and unshed tears. "I thought Amora was that person. I thought, with all my success, she would be the one to stand by me. But I'm now beginning to see that some loves aren't meant to be, if they cannot weather the storm." Their conversation was punctuated by tender silences and sincere admissions. Malik, who had been quietly preparing a light meal, interjected, "Sir, sometimes a test reveals more about our own hearts than about anyone else's. You have been guarded by wealth and privilege for so long. Now, as you embrace simplicity, you find that loyalty and compassion are the real measures of character." Yura nodded in agreement as she straightened a pillow behind Leon. "I will be here as long as you need me. More than a nurse, more than a friend, I will remind you that love is often found in the most unexpected places." In that moment, as the morning light filtered through worn curtains, the seeds of a new relationship took root. Leon realized that while his attempt to test his fiancée might be painful, it was also illuminating a path to a more genuine life. With Yura's support, the burdens of his staged misfortune were transformed into lessons about what truly mattered, a legacy of loyalty, care, and understanding that money could never replace. A week later, Leon decided it was time to confront the mounting reality of his experiment. He arranged a dinner at his farmhouse, inviting Amora over with the pretext of discussing their future. That evening, the modest dining room was lit by a single chandelier whose light danced on the worn wooden table. Simple candles flickered in glass holders, and a gentle aroma of spiced stew filled the space. Amora arrived, her designer dress and expensive heels a stark contrast to the surroundings. She hesitated at the threshold, eyebrows raised as if the very idea of this place was a misstep. Leon greeted her at the door with a calm smile, his eyes betraying a quiet sadness beneath the composed exterior. "Amora, I'm pleased you could come," he said, his tone even yet laced with an edge of solemnity. Taking her seat, Amora hesitated before speaking. "Leon, this is absurd. You're not seriously telling me that our future lies in a life stripped of every luxury, are you?" Leon leaned forward, his expression earnest. "I'm not asking for your charity, Amora. I'm trying to understand what remains when all the trappings of wealth vanish. What is it that you truly hold dear?" Amora's lips pressed into a thin line. "I hold success, comfort, and a future where I don't have to worry about every little detail of my life. I don't need to live in a place that feels like a relic." Leon's eyes softened, and he reached out a hand to hers. "Then tell me, what happens when a man loses everything? Do the people who once thrived on your love still remain when there's nothing left to flaunt?" Her voice wavered as she replied, I'm sorry, Leon. I never signed up for this kind of experiment. I believed in stability, in a shared vision of success, not some twisted trial that forces us into hardship. A tense silence fell over the table as the gravity of his question sank in. Leon continued softly, I understand your need for stability, but life isn't always about comfort. Sometimes, it's about discovering the strength within ourselves, and the people who love us enough to stay even when we are at our most vulnerable. Amora scoffed lightly, her eyes flashing with indignation. So, this is a test then? An elaborate drama to see if I'm worthy of you. Leon sighed, pain and disappointment mingling in his gaze. It was never about worthiness, Amora. It was about discovering truth. And truth is that I need someone whose love isn't conditional on a bank account balance. Her gaze hardened as she looked away, disbelief and betrayal mingling with frustration. You're playing with my feelings, Leon. I thought love was built on trust, not on games. I can't imagine being with someone who'd risk everything just for a test. Leon's voice dropped to a whisper. I was trying to find out if you would stand by me when the lights go out, and when there is nothing left but the darkness. And right now, all I see is someone who's more comfortable with the idea of luxury than with the reality of my soul. The conversation spiraled into a volley of terse words and wounded silences. Amora's eyes brimmed with unshed tears as she finally rose from the table. I can't do this, Leon. I can't be part of a life that demands I sacrifice who I am. I'm leaving. Leon watched helplessly as she gathered her purse and stormed out into the night, leaving behind a trembling silence that spoke louder than any words could convey. Malik and Yora exchanged glances from across the room, each aware that a definitive line had been drawn. As the door closed behind Amora, Leon's heart ached with the bitter fruit of his experiment. Yet in the quiet aftermath, he knew that the confrontation had achieved its purpose. The truth, however harsh, had been set free. In the days that followed the climactic dinner, the once quiet life at the farmhouse was punctuated by quiet investigations and hushed voices. Malik, ever observant and discreet, had continued to gather evidence. One evening, while making a routine trip into town for supplies, he found himself outside an upscale restaurant that he knew frequented the social elite. There, through the reflective glass of a window, he spotted Amora engaged in what appeared to be a secretive dinner with another wealthy man. Seated across from each other, the pair leaned in close, their conversation hushed and urgent. Malik, hidden in the shadows, snapped a discreet photograph of the scene, a silent record that would soon shatter any remaining illusions. Later that night at the farmhouse, under the soft glow of a single lamp, Malik handed Leon the evidence. Sir, I believe this confirms your suspicions, Malik said quietly, his tone neutral yet heavy with implications. Leon slowly examined the photograph, noting the intimacy between Amora and the other man, an intimacy that was devoid of the formality she had once displayed when they were together. Leon's voice was calm but resolute. It's time, then. The truth must be known. Later that day, Leon gathered Malik and Yora in the modest living room, where the walls were adorned with faded family photographs and the lingering scent of nostalgia. I've maintained this facade to see who in my life truly loves me, and who clings only to what I can offer. He paused, allowing the weight of his words to sink in before continuing. Amora, I never truly believed that all that glitters is love. But through this test, I've seen that loyalty is found in unexpected hearts. Yora's eyes shone with unshed tears as she recalled her many visits to the farmhouse, the gentle care she had offered him, and the warmth that had blossomed in her heart. Malik, his expression inscrutable, simply nodded in quiet affirmation. Leon took a deep breath. I want the world to know that I never lost everything. I never lost what truly matters. Tonight, we'll set the record straight. That evening, Leon arranged a small gathering at the farmhouse, inviting trusted friends, local media, and a few key members of society. With calm authority, he revealed the truth behind his supposed downfall. Standing in front of the assembled crowd, he shared not just his story of financial loss, but also the painful lessons learned about loyalty, love, and the masks people wear. He spoke of the long nights spent alone, the quiet support from Malik and Yora, and the heart-wrenching moment when Amora had chosen comfort over confronting the truth. I once thought that wealth defined love, he admitted. But true love is selfless, unwavering, and sometimes, harsh in its honesty. Tonight, I choose to embrace that truth and rebuild my life, this time with those who have proven their worth. The announcement rippled through the room like a shockwave. Whispers filled the space, and at one point, even a few sympathetic nods of approval were seen among the gathered elite. Meanwhile, a few heads had already begun to turn away, unwilling to accept the harsh lesson that money and luxury were not the ultimate measures of character. In a quiet corner of the room, Amora stood frozen, her eyes clouded with regret and disbelief. She had not expected this public unveiling, the culmination of Leon's intricate test. As the crowd slowly dispersed and the lights dimmed, Leon's words echoed in her mind, "You didn't lose me, Amora. You gave me away." The revelation not only shattered the illusion Amora had held onto but also galvanized those who had quietly supported Leon's ordeal. The test had been a success, even as it had cost him dearly in love. Amid the soft murmur of departing guests, Malik's steady presence and Yora's compassionate gaze stood as testament to a new beginning forged through truth. In the tender afterglow of the shocking revelations, the countryside around the modest farmhouse seemed to breathe new life. The fresh dawn light painted the hills in hues of soft lavender and gold, a sign, Leon thought, of a new beginning. With the old ties severed and facades laid bare, he now faced a choice: rebuild his life with those who had remained loyal, or cling to a past that had proven ephemeral. In the quiet intimacy of a hilltop clearing overlooking a valley rich with wildflowers and rippling streams, Leon invited Yora for a quiet walk. The crisp air was filled with the scent of fresh grass and the distant calls of birds, a stark contrast to the sterile opulence that had once defined his world. As they strolled, the conversation was gentle, filled with reminiscences of childhood and shared secrets. "Yora," Leon began carefully, "all my life I chased a shadow of success, convinced that wealth could shield me from pain. But in stripping it all away, I've come to see that life's true treasures aren't measured in dollars, they are found in moments, in loyalty, and in the unwavering support of someone who cares more for my heart than my fortune." Yora's eyes shone, both with quiet resolve and a deep affection. "Leon, I've admired you since we were children. Even as the world grew complicated around us, your true self, kind, determined, and vulnerable, remained something I cherished. I see now that your test was not an act of cruelty, but a pursuit of truth. A truth that even I could only glimpse in passing." The wind whispered through the trees as they reached the crest of a hill, where the landscape opened out before them like a canvas of possibility. Leon suddenly stopped, his heart pounding as he turned to face Yora. With uncharacteristic nervousness and sincerity, he spoke, "Yora, you have been my guiding light through this storm. Your kindness, your bravery, your honesty have healed wounds I didn't know could be mended. I am no longer the man I once was. I have shed layers of pretense, and I'm ready to live fully, with the person who has always seen me as I truly am. Will you marry me?" For a long, breathless moment, silence enveloped the clearing. Then Yora's eyes welled with tears of relief and joy. "Leon," she whispered, "I have loved you even when you were hidden behind the facade of wealth and ambition. Today, I promise my heart to you, fully, honestly, and without reservation. Yes, I will marry you." Their voices, trembling with emotion, intertwined with the gentle murmur of nature. In that moment, the hilltop became an altar of truth, a celebration not of riches but of integrity, loyalty, and the rediscovery of oneself. Back at the farmhouse, Malik discreetly observed the scene from a distance, a small, proud smile playing across his lips. He knew the path ahead would be arduous, but also that genuine love, once discovered, could weather even the harshest tests. Leon, with Yora by his side, had found something priceless, a bond that transcended the superficial allure of money, a promise to nurture a legacy of sincerity and compassion. The days that followed Leon's public unveiling and Yora's heartfelt proposal were marked by whispers and unmistakable shifts in the social landscape. News of Leon's real status, as a man who had engineered an elaborate test and had come out stronger, spread like wildfire. In the opulent circles Amora still frequented, the story was told in hushed tones, tinged with a mix of admiration and regret. One afternoon, Amora, now draped in designer attire and surrounded by an aura of desperate glamour, found herself alone in the grand foyer of Leon's once stately estate, a place she had once believed belonged exclusively to her future. As she paced through the marble halls, gilded frames lining the walls serving as stark reminders of a love that had slipped away, her thoughts churned in a painful blend of regret and longing. In a quiet, private room, Amora met with a trusted confidant, Isabella. "Isabella," she said, voice trembling, "I realize now that I mistook comfort and extravagance for genuine love. Leon has everything, yet he chose to leave me, not because I wasn't enough, but because I couldn't see beyond the glitter. I watched my chance to stand by him slip away." Isabella's eyes, equally sorrowful, met hers as she replied softly, "Sometimes the hardest lessons in life come when we're forced to confront our own weaknesses. You see luxury as security, but true security lies in vulnerability and mutual trust. I'm sorry, Amora." Tears welled in Amora's eyes as she wandered through the estate's manicured gardens. Alone with her remorse, she recalled the evening of the confrontation, the painful moment when Leon's words, steady and resolute, had shattered her illusions. "You need stability," she had said, "and I can't be that for you anymore." That night, as Leon's voice echoed in her mind, she now understood the cruel irony. By clinging to the things she thought defined her, she had ended up forsaking what could have been a love built on truth. Meanwhile, in various corners of the city, acquaintances and former friends of Amora began to distance themselves, a silent yet palpable retribution for what was seen as shallow choices and fickle loyalties. Invitations to glamorous parties and elite gatherings, once plentiful, now became fewer and more perfunctory. A few weeks later, while scrolling through social media on her designer smartphone, Amora came across a series of photos. There, amidst vibrant images of a newlywed couple laughing on a sunny balcony and sharing tender moments, was Leon, radiant in his sincerity, and Yora, her eyes alight with genuine affection. The caption read simply, "The true legacy of love." It hit Amora like a physical blow, a reminder of a life that could have been hers, a life where luxury was not the goal, but where loyalty had mattered more than any glittering facade. In a final, desperate bid, Amora gathered what little dignity she had left and drove to Leon's estate. Wearing an expensive tailored suit and sporting an air of contrived elegance, she arrived at the grand entrance, hoping against hope for one last chance. The halls were quiet, too quiet, and soon her footsteps echoed in the vast emptiness. In the drawing room, where portraits of the Ambrose family looked on in silent testimony, she found Leon and Yora standing together. Amora's voice, though laced with desperate regret, wavered as she spoke. "Leon, please, I was wrong. I was afraid of a life without all I'm used to. But I see now, I see what I've lost." Leon's gaze was steady, compassionate yet resolute. "Amora," he said softly, "you had the opportunity to stand by me in times of real need. But true love isn't something that can be reclaimed in a moment of regret. You chose comfort over commitment when the test was on, and that choice speaks louder than words." Amora sank into a chair, her tears falling freely. I'm so sorry." Leon shook his head gently. "I'm sorry too, but it's too late now. True redemption starts when we accept our mistakes, and sometimes it means moving forward without those we once thought defined our happiness." As Amora left the estate in a haze of sorrow, the reality settled in for everyone present. Loyalty, once lost, is hard to retrieve. In that silent moment, the gulf between what once was and what now remained was clearer than ever. The keys to their future lay with those willing to embrace honesty over illusion, and Leon, with Yora by his side, had found that key. Months melted into a calm and reflective autumn. The farmhouse, once a battleground of disguised emotions and staged hardship, now bore the marks of real transformation. Leon and Yora had settled into a life far removed from the pretensions of their old worlds. Their wedding, a modest yet heartfelt affair attended by a tight-knit circle of friends, family, and even Malik, had become the talk of the town not for its extravagance, but for its sincere celebration of real love. In the cozy confines of their new home, a blend of rustic charm and genuine warmth, Leon and Yora hosted gatherings that celebrated not just their union, but the idea that life's true treasures could be found in loyalty and compassion. Malik, now promoted to head of Leon's security team, served not as a reminder of a bygone era, but as a living example of friendship that had transcended class and status. As winter's chill gave way to the soft promise of spring, Leon and Yora announced plans for a foundation. The Ambrose Bennett Foundation, as it came to be known, was dedicated to helping individuals and families facing adversity, a testament to the lessons learned when wealth was stripped away and only the genuine remained. At the inauguration of the foundation, in an event held in a transformed barn decorated with strings of warm lights and vibrant wildflowers, Leon addressed the gathered crowd. "Today, we celebrate not just the survival of a man who lost everything on paper, but the triumph of a spirit that found true wealth in loyalty and service. Love, when tested, reveals its purest form. And it is that purity which we wish to share with the world," he said, his voice echoing with sincerity and hope. Yora stepped forward, her hand in his. "We dedicate this foundation to every soul who dares to love without expecting a price in return, to every individual who values the intangible over the material, and to those who believe that life's truest blessings are found in unwavering loyalty and authentic compassion." Applause broke out among the audience, cheers that resonated far beyond the barn's wooden walls. In that moment, Leon's journey, from the dizzying heights of wealth to the humble realities of hardship, had come full circle. The test that once threatened to shatter his heart had instead revealed the indelible strength of a love founded on honesty. Later, as Leon and Yora sat quietly on their porch with Malik by their side and the soft hum of nature in the background, They reflected on the tumultuous path that had led them here. Leon turned to Malik. You were with me when I lost everything, physically if not spiritually. And in the end, I found that what truly mattered was the bond we forged in those vulnerable moments. That bond is something money cannot buy. Malik smiled, nodding. Sir, I believe that loyalty is the anchor in the storm of life. And you've proved that sometimes losing everything in appearance can reveal the richest truths of the heart. Yura, quiet and content, added, we've learned that the most enduring legacies are not written in ledgers, but in the memories of kind words, shared laughter, and the compassion we extend to one another. And so, with every passing season, the Ambrose Bennett Foundation grew to serve countless lives, helping those who, much like Leon, found themselves in moments of despair, only to discover that true wealth lay in the human connections forged in love and sacrifice. The legacy of loyalty became the beacon for many, a reminder that when the glitter fades and the masks fall away, the human spirit, nurtured by genuine care and unwavering support, remains the richest treasure of all. In the end, Leon realized that life was a grand tapestry, intricately woven with threads of joy, sorrow, and everything in between. And in that tapestry, each act of loyalty, each moment of genuine compassion, was a stroke of artistry that rendered the picture incomplete without them. His experiment, painful though it had been, had gifted him with clarity, a clarity that now shone in every conversation, every shared meal, and every foundation built to honor the beauty of truth. As the sun dipped below the horizon one final time, Leon, Yura, and Malik sat together in comfortable silence. In that quiet company, Leon whispered softly, I lost everything, only to find what truly matters. And with you by my side, I've gained more than I ever dreamed possible. Yura replied, our future is not measured by what we once had, but by the love we nurture every day. And that love is our greatest legacy. Thus, the story of Leon Ambrose, his ill-fated fiancée Amora, and the unexpected allies who emerged from darkness was etched into memory, a timeless reminder that real love shines brightest in the moments of vulnerability, and that loyalty, once proven, remains the truest form of wealth. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, comment your thoughts and share. See you in the next story. AFRITALES by Moonlight.